My name is Marshall Wyatt. I am the founder of OKeh Records. I think I first got into old-time music from buying the county LPs that David Freeman put out, including the Charlie Poole albums and a bunch of others. And that just sort of opened my eyes up after, growing up and as a teenager and doing the whole rock and roll thing. Suddenly there was this whole other new world of music to discover. New world of old music to discover. So, same with blues. Somebody gave me a copy of Sam Charter's LP called The Country Blues, and that just like knocked my socks off, So it was sort of listening to some key LPs that got me interested, and then started going out to the flea market and discovered 78s and started buying those. And once you get hooked on 78s, there's no cure. So, as a corollary to collecting the 78s, I got interested in the guys that made the 78s. And back in the 1980s, there were a bunch of these guys who were still alive up in Ashe County, and I had records by them. So I went and visited these guys and talked to them and got all their stories and stuff, and realized that nobody had reissued this music, really, in any sort of comprehensive way on an LP or a CD. So I said, well, I've got the people, I've got the records, and let's do it. So it was going to be just a one-off thing that turned into a 20-year,
and what was
preoccupation.
What was that one-off thing?
It was called Music from the Lost Provinces, which was the name of Ashe, Allegheny, and Watauga counties, that general area, cut off from the rest of the state, basically. So, well, Wayne and Kenny and Tony Russell and I for years have talked about somebody ought to do a reissue project on the Asheville Sessions that OKeh did in 1925. So all these years later, yes, it's finally happening. So I definitely wanted to make some kind of contribution. And since I had about a dozen of the records, I brought them up here today, and we're going to do some transfers and launch the CD project, hopefully. So
awesome.
I did a CD of African-American fiddle players called Violin Sing the Blues for Me. I did an anthology of old-time music from North Carolina called In the Pines. I did a record with Joe Bussard, the famous record collector, the late Joe Bussard, and called Down in the Basement, and it documented, put out, some of his favorite records. So that's a few of the things.